Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. So this is a video of people talking about when they knew their marriages were over and what they had to endure before deciding to totally end it all. And the worst part is living with someone you were supposed to be in love with, but that person has turned into a total stranger and craving for intimacy with that person that you once loved, but you know that you are never going to get it, or even if you are going to get it, it is not going to be as intimate as it used to be because both of you have emotionally checked out of that relationship. This is very, very heartbreaking, and I still wonder how it got to the point of people falling out of love with each other that they would rather not want to be in that person's life anymore. This is a question that begs for an answer, and up to today, I don't think I have seen any concrete answer to why people who were once in love become total stranger, fall out of love, and even going as far as hating on each other, and they would rather not want to see that person again for life. This is very, very heartbreaking, and let me know what you guys think about this video in the comment section down below. Have you ever experienced any of these things? And if you are a divorced person watching this video, how were you able to know exactly when to leave your thoughts in the comment section down below, and let's see what this video is all about.
Your marriage was over. For me, there were lots of moments, things I didn't recognize until later that should have been the moment. Here's the first one that should have been the moment now that I've been through all of this. We'd been married for about a year and a couple months. I was finishing up my degree to become a teacher. He was not going to school and he was not working. Should have been my first sign. And that we had just found out, I'd taken a pregnancy test, that I was newly pregnant. We were excited, didn't know what was happening, like all the feelings. Well, 2 days later, I started bleeding and what ended up being a miscarriage. I ended up staying home from school that day, just a lot of emotions. I remember crying a lot and not feeling great and bleeding a lot. And I remember not having the supplies I needed to handle a miscarriage. And I had asked my then husband if he would go to the store for me and go buy me some pads. And he looked at me and he was like, I can't do that. That makes me very uncomfortable. And I was like, what? We are adults. I am your wife. I just had a miscarriage and I'm asking for some help. Please? And he said no again. And he made a reference to a time back in high school when he promised himself and some friends that he would never be that guy to buy those things. And in that moment, I remember being like, But it was a flash, right? I went and I put a hat on. I put a jacket on. And I left without saying anything to him. Eyes swollen from crying, not feeling great, to go buy the supplies I'd asked him for help with. That was the moment that should have been the moment. But I lasted 11 more years, 4 kids.
How do you know your marriage is on the rocks? Here are the signs that I noticed but tried to sweep under the carpet, I guess you could say, when my marriage was sort of in the final stages of what was 17, 18 years. That's not something I've really spoken about on here, but it's kind of the reason why I started making these TikTok videos. Went through a real low patch. The honeymoon period was great. You're kind of doing what you want after 17 years. That's quite refreshing. But then if you're anything like me, it hits quite hard after, maybe that first 8, 9, 10 months, maybe a year, depending on, what you're doing with the rest of your life. But here are the signs that I sort of noticed, but didn't really take full notice of. So things like having no intimacy, That was definitely something that happened to me. You could probably go 7-8 months without any intimate contact, and that's massive for a lot of men. I know, and some of you women will say that that's probably quite important for you as well, but that was certainly something that I noticed. My mobile phone was kept upside down, so what went from the phones being left around in the house, it went to the phone being turned upside down, passwords being changed. I noticed things like the kids weren't allowed on my ex's mobile phone to play games. Up until that point, they'd pick the phone up whenever they wanted and have a go on something, but the phone was turned upside down, passwords were changed, and they weren't allowed on it. Something else that I noticed, whenever you were out with friends, the conversations that would be had would always kind of be turned around, and you would almost be made a mockery of, and any input that you had, maybe you'd tell a joke or something like that, it was always met with disdain and like a look of disgust, and not patronising necessarily, but that type of thing. You'd never argue anymore, and I know that's a funny one, but when the passion's gone, when everything's gone from the relationship, the arguments tend to go, and you'd address something and it'd just be met with whatever. That's definitely something that I noticed. Birthday presents and Christmas presents, particularly cards, all meanings gone. I noticed times when it would be things like, oh, what do you want for your birthday? What do you want for Christmas? You'd be like, oh, I'm not too sure. And she'd be like, well, tell you what, buy something for yourself and I'll give you the money back. And the last thing that I really noticed was if you've got your notifications and things like that set on WhatsApp. So, when you look on WhatsApp and it says last seen, this person was last seen at such and such a time. Well, it kind of got to the point where every single time I went to send a message to my ex, it was last seen 1 minute ago, last seen 2 minutes ago. And then it starts to get into a bit of a habit and you start checking things. And it was like, gosh, they were last seen at 7 in the morning and last seen at 11:30 at night and things like that. So, just things that are a little bit out of the ordinary, because you're thinking, well, nobody's really texting somebody that much if it's just friends or work colleagues. I'm sure there were many other signs as well, but they were kind of the ones that, for maybe about a year, it kind of made a lot of sense to me that actually things weren't going the way they were. And I wasn't, strong enough necessarily to admit it and, confront it. But they're the kind of signs that I was noticing. If you're feeling any of those, if you're going through any of those blokes, or some of the ladies as well, let me know in the comments. It's not easy. Certainly isn't easy. And I'm not putting any blame in anybody's court. Life changes, people do move on. But, they're the sort of signs that maybe if I'd have noticed them a bit sooner, I could have maybe been a bit more mentally prepared, or maybe tried to fix things, or even maybe, moved on a little bit earlier in life, which might have been a blessing, might not have been. Everything happens for a reason. I'm a true believer of that, and I wouldn't be where I am now if things hadn't have gone the way that they did. But they were certainly some of the things that I was noticing, and when I look back now, it was blatantly obvious to me that things weren't going well. But I'm sure, like most blokes out here, we'd rather bury our head in the sand sometimes rather than confront it. And if you can notice these things early on and you can address them, you might be able to save things, which would be fantastic if that's what you want. But yeah, I just thought I'd let you know about some of the things that I don't really think I've spoken about them on here before very much. But certainly something, now it's sort of five years down the line. I would say I'm well on the way to healing from it. And if it can help somebody else out, or, I guess having 120,000 people following me now, some of you will look at me and say, oh, you're really strong, you've got this, you've got that going about you. I haven't. I'm just a normal bloke. And, if you can look at this video and go, wow, somebody can talk openly about that type of thing and, not put somebody up on a pedestal just because they've got a few 100,000 followers, or, some of the advice that I might have given you might have resonated with you. I'm just a normal bloke that fucked up a marriage after 17, 18 years, had 2 great kids from it, which, I would never look back in that and say that was anything other than a miracle. But that was, that's really my thoughts on it. So hope everything's going all right for you. If it isn't, you might have time to address some of these things if you want to. If not, moving on's not too bad.
What hurts the most is when you're married, but you still feel lonely. Imagine two people that used to be in love, wedding vows, put a wedding ring on each other, had a house together, kids, did everything, knows their ins and outs. They're complete strangers to each other. They live in the same household, but they don't even recognize each other. They don't acknowledge each other. In reality, living with two people that used to love each other is now a thing in the past, destroys each other as well. There's no more communication. There's no more love. There's no more affection. There's no more I love you. There's no more text messages. All there is loneliness. He leaves and comes back at different odd hours. She stays and cries every single time. And the only time she has peace is when he's gone, so she can cry in peace. Marriage lonely hits different more than anything else. I'm going to tell you right now, if you're going through this, you got to realize that it's time to move on. And you both need to be grown adults and move on. But if one person doesn't want to agree to it and make it difficult for you, it's going to be a lot harder for you to get away. I'm going to pray for you. You want to know when the relationship is truly over and you have to accept it? Is the moment you live with somebody that is your husband, that is your partner, and it feels like you both are roommates. You've expressed your feelings many times, and yet there is no change. They just brush you off. And now you're sitting there hoping that they will change. You are sitting there hoping that your partner will come back to reality and love you the way they did. I want to let you know that your partner has checked out a long time ago. You have waited 5, 10 years praying that they're going to change. Sweetheart, you shouldn't even wait longer than a day for somebody to change if they truly love you. But putting 5 to 10 years thinking that they're going to change, I'm sorry to break it to you. Your marriage is done. The only thing you need to do is walk out and realize to love yourself and find somebody that will love you better than he did, better than your own husband or wife did. I know this hurts, but you have to accept the reality that one person has quit while the other one is fighting. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Guys, what are your thoughts on this video? This is a very, very painful situation for anyone to be in, because most people will not even understand the words that are being said here, except you have worn the shoe of being a divorced person. That is when you will fully grasp what these people are talking about. This really, really hurts, and being in such a situation is not something I'll pray for anyone to be in, because if you did not wear the shoe, you would never understand. And this is a place of deep hurt that so many people don't even know how to come out of it. And even when they grow older, they still regret their divorce and everything that happened down the line. And most people don't even forget their first partner, no matter how many other person they end up with. That first love is like their soulmate, and that is what most people regret. And this is really, really interesting, and I know that a lot of people will learn a thing or two from this video. But let me know what you guys think about this video in the comment section down below. Are you a divorced person watching this video? How were you able to hold things together going through this terrible phase of life? Leave your thoughts in the comment section down below, and I'll see you all in my next video. Bye guys.